Woody's at his age.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome into another episode of the Jets Afterburners podcast. I am your host, Liam, writing solo tonight. Quick show, not going to go too long tonight. Still a little under the weather. Dan wasn't able to make it tonight. He has a couple things going on. But it is a Tuesday evening. We are sitting here, and the Jets are now 0-4, falling to the, up until last night, also winless Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins were considered to be a worse team than the Jets, but we didn't know what we were getting ourselves into. And this is kind of going to be more of a rant, I guess. There's not many positives, really any to take away. But we're going to go down through the entire game. Starting off, really, let's start off with the coaching staff and Darren Muji. How do we know? We don't know. And we won't know for a while now, it looks like, if we even nailed the hiring with Aaron Glenn. After the somehow untimely firing of Robert Saleh, somehow the Jets last year managed to fire him too early and too late, if that makes any sense. He should have never been brought back last year. And then once you did bring him back, they were getting ready to be playing the Buffalo Bills for the first place right before they fired him in the division. Season goes in shambles. We all know how it ended. We bring in Aaron Glenn. A lot of people were excited, myself included. And I think it's still too early to tell with Aaron Glenn. I mean, it's only been 4 games. He hasn't even been here a full season yet. But Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji, they have a lot of explaining to do. They don't look so well right now. Aaron Glenn, all off-season long, what have we been hearing from him? The Jets are going to be physical. Our goal is to win now. We're tackling. That's the other thing about going into last night's game, the tackling. They were doing Oklahoma drills all off-season long. Really putting a premium on being a physical, hard-hitting team. And Darren Muji and Aaron Glenn both said, yeah, our goal is to win football games now. And they don't even really look competitive. These scores are a lot of time are in garbage time. They are. These scores outside of the Buffalo Bills game aren't really a true telling of who this team is. We're going to get deeper into that in just a second here. Getting back to last night's game, they hold the Miami Dolphins on their first possession of 3. The Jets get the ball on their opening drive, marching it, running it down the throats of the Miami Dolphins all the way down the field, and then you fumble pretty much in the end zone. Story of the New York Jets. This team just can't get out of their own way. They can't get out of their own way. They look very uncoached, very undisciplined. And like I said, Aaron Glenn, he says this isn't the same old Jets. This is somehow worse than the same old Jets. When you think back to same old Jets, what do you think? Team's not competitive. Team looks unprepared, outcoached. What are we seeing here? But I will say this about the Jets. I'm not going to sit here and sell you guys on something and say, yeah, we're the big bad New York Jets. But Steve Wilkes, we know he needs to go. That's a given. Tanner Engstrand, I'm willing to be a little bit more patient with him. And just this Jets offense, starting off with the offense, we're gonna get into the defense in just a second. Don't you worry. But on the offensive side of the ball, it is a first-time head coach. Really, that could be said for the defense. He says he's not a defensive coach; he's a head coach. He made that very clear too. But we have a first-time head coach with a first-time offensive coordinator, with a quarterback with his first year in that system. It's going to take a little bit of time, I guess. But that's the thing. The Jets fan base, for the most part, was willing to be patient. And we said, hey, listen, we know that we're not going to win a lot of games here. The bar wasn't set high. It wasn't playoff mandate, AFC championship mandate, going all in like it was the last few years. No. Most of us logical fans, we knew what was here. Team's not going to win a lot of games. But there was little bars that you wanted to see set. There was some expectations that you wanted to see met. Starting off with being a disciplined team. Right? That's something that we wanted to see. To start off being a disciplined team. And Aaron Glenn keeps saying, over these last 2 years, the Jets were the most penalized team in football. Well, it is, and I get it. Some of these calls are a little ridiculous. And I've never been one of those fans to blame the refs for anything. But some of these calls, oh my God, you're not just seeing it with the Jets. It's all over the league. Finally, there was a Sunday that the Jets couldn't ruin. This is probably the best mood I've been in on a Sunday afternoon last Sunday and since the season started. The Giants-Chargers game was competitive. I was watching some of the Bills game, some of the Lions game, some of the Patriots a little bit. You got all these screens, these screens going. I'm watching all that. And the penalties all across the league are really just complete ludicrous. The one with Garrett Wilson, that pass interference, come on, give me a break. But looking at the penalties here, the Jets had 13 penalties for 101 yards last night. And Aaron Glenn's answer is, well, large ships turn slowly. Well, that's a lot different than we're going to be competitive this year. That's really different. The Miami Dolphins last night had 6 penalties for 40 yards. But if you look at these numbers, Aaron Glenn's right. He said this in his press conference earlier. You probably think the Jets won the game. Total yards, 404 yards that the Jets had total yesterday compared to Miami Dolphins 3. Passing yards, Justin Fields 207 to 2 is 177. Rushing yards, 197 to 123. Yards per play, 7.1 to 4.5. First downs, 23 to 19. Third down conversions, 4 for 9. Fourth down efficiency, 1 for 2. Total plays, 57 to 56. The Jets allowed 2 sacks. They only punted the ball twice compared to Miami, who punted the ball 4 times. And then the Jets had 3 fumbles. That's going to cost you the game every time. Time of possession, the Jets had the ball for 29 minutes and 12 seconds. The Miami Dolphins had the ball for 30 minutes, 48 seconds. Overall, pretty neck and neck. Pretty 50-50. It didn't look that way yesterday, though. It really didn't. And it's just so frustrating watching the game. It's so boring. We look forward to this all year long. Football's back. And then we all find ourselves sitting on the couch like this, Looking at my fantasy team, I'm bored, I'm looking around. Run, pass, punt. Run on first down. Oh, throw on second down. Oh, first down. That's a New York Jets first down. They kind of get into like a little bit of a rhythm. Justin Fields, he was not the reason that the Jets lost yesterday. I want to throw that right out there. But kind of tying this all back with the coaching staff, the team doesn't tackle. The defense, we all know, is a very bad unit. I've been calling for Steve Wilkes' head. Is it a little premature? Maybe. But we know he's not going to be here next year. I'd rather see Aaron Glenn take over play calling duties at this point. You don't want to fire Wilkes? Fine. You want to hold on to him? Because he's going to be the scapegoat at the end of the year. Somebody's going to have to fall. Somebody's going to have to answer to Woody Johnson in this mess. It's going to be Steve Wilkes. Notorious one and done type coach. Tyreek Hill, you hate to see the injury. That was a nasty knee leg injury. Tore his ACL, tore pretty much every tendon and ligament in his knee. But not that we ever hope for injuries, but last night you're saying, all right, Tyreek Hill's a pretty good player. He's out now. Now you got to really just focus on Waddle. Maybe you can contain HN a little bit. Darren Waller, well, he hasn't been relevant in years. When's the last time he scored a touchdown? He looks like an all-pro out there. He looks like Travis Kelce out there. Crazy. It doesn't matter. And we saw this last week against Tampa. Chris Godwin's out at the end of the game. Mike Evans was out of the game. You get this big advantage, and it doesn't seem to matter with this team. Is it the players? Is it the system? What is it? Right? What is it? Getting into the players, I mean, like, Darren Muji's signings have been pretty atrocious up to this point. Phillips is a nice signing. Briggs is a nice signing. But overall, they picked up that big contract for Sauce Gardner. Talk about disappointments. I love Sauce Gardner. Huge Sauce Gardner fan. But let's call it what it is. Sauce has been a real disappointment this year. We kind of forgave him for last year, did we not? He had a down year. But I was saying it once we hired Aaron Glenn. All right, we're hiring a corner. Maybe he could get Sauce back to that all-pro level. We know the talent is there. We've seen it. He's a Pro Bowl player when he wants to be. But he can't tackle. He doesn't come away with turnovers. On blitzes, he doesn't sack quarterbacks. When he's covering, he's holding a lot of the time. And we saw it again last night. He's like an average corner. That nickname, Sauce Gardner, yeah. He doesn't even deserve the nickname. He's like a mod. He's just a mod. It's pretty disappointing. And it seems like whenever there is any type of play for a gain on the opposing offense, no one Jet player can ever take a player down. They can never just like one-on-one tackling. And the Jets still struggle against the run. We were saying all offseason long that there is a pretty weakness position at the edge position. We were one Jermaine Johnson injury away from being somewhat screwed. And that's what happened. Will McDonald, overall, he's been impressive. You can't really knock on him too much. But Jermaine Johnson's out, so we're seeing a lot of Michael Clemens, which is never a good thing. And just the secondary is absolutely just atrocious. Tony Adams, the safety position for years now has been a liability. And it was last night too. And I know like at the linebacker position, Quincy Williams is out, which that hurts too. Michael Carter got hurt. That was another signing from last year. He hasn't really lived up to that contract either. He's been bad this year too, and he was bad yesterday before we got hurt. Jamie Sherwood, we signed him this offseason. Same thing. He hasn't been great. Yesterday he wasn't too good. Brandon Stevens, believe it or not, stepped up a little bit. I mean, he's not great, but yesterday wasn't his worst performance of the season. He had some breakups a little bit, right? He didn't look terrible. Didn't look great, but he looked a little below average. And if that's what we're going to get out of him, which is another indictment on Muji, I don't. How do you justify bringing this guy back? Brandon Stevens is a dead man walking. So earlier this week, we went out and we traded with the Tennessee Titans for another corner. He's hurt. All right. So we'll see what he can do moving forward. I don't know if you're going to try to move Brandon Stevens to safety maybe, or if he's just been that bad at his job that he's losing his job. Either way, I'm willing at this point to make some changes. You can't be stubborn. We saw that all throughout the solid years. He was stubborn. It was his way or the highway. Make adjustments. I was saying 2 weeks ago, going into the coming out of the Buffalo Bills game, doing the preview for the Buccaneers game, I was saying, come out of Florida 2-2, you save your season, you're 500, anything could happen. You go back home, you're playing the Dallas Cowboys, and it's so funny how history repeats itself. I can't even talk right now. Sorry about that. Aaron Glenn, you don't want your name being tied to Adam Gase, same initials, AG, was 0-4 in 2019 before coming back home to play the Dallas Cowboys to get their first win of the season. That's the route we're going. They start off that year 1-7. They then go 7-9. I'm not saying it's great, but the season does get a little bit softer. You got the Panthers, you got the Browns, you got the Patriots, you got the Dolphins again. You got some winnable games, but the New York Jets are in no position to be looking down any team saying that's a win. Because the other teams are doing the exact same thing. Look at the Jets. They just lost to the Dolphins. They suck. And yeah, we do. Maybe you get lucky. But is it that we're overvaluing our own? Or are these players really just not that good? They're not smart football players either. Williams fielding the ball at the 2-yard line. Let it bounce into the end zone. And then late in the fourth quarter, Miami punts the ball. And instead of bouncing into the end zone, it bounces on the 1 and bounces back onto the field. Long field for the Jets. They'd have to go like 98 yards in 12 seconds, I think it was. It's just, we can't catch a break. Nick Folk, he looked good yesterday. I have him on my fantasy team. Could not be happier. Help me secure that win. Get me to 2-2. Save my season. But looking on the offensive side of the ball, well, really, before we get into the offensive side of the ball, let's get into special teams. Special teams has been a complete disaster all year. The Jets have tried a few different things and nothing is working. We hired Chris Banjo. It's been a disaster. We bought in Mike Westhoff for a couple days in the offseason to give a hand. Week 1, we get rid of Gibson after his fumble. And then we have Braylon Allen returning punts for some reason. And he gets hurt. Now he's on IR. Because the Jets coaching staff, they were arrogant and they said, we know better. And they don't. They don't. We've been saying since last year that Gibson shouldn't have been brought back. They cut him week 1, and it's been a disaster ever since. Will Williams, Isaiah Davis was back there at one point throughout the season. Braylon Allen, which I don't want Braylon Allen returning kicks. I really don't. So he's out now. So now it's definitely going to be the Brees show. And it sucks. Another injury. But let's get into Garrett Wilson a little bit. Probably the only bright spot of the team. Garrett Wilson, that BS pass interference on offense, that was nonsense. That was definitely a touchdown. That's something that cost the Jets right there. I'm not blaming Garrett Wilson. I think that's a ref's fault. That's a ref bad decision. But you know what? Bad teams get bad calls. The New York Jets aren't getting any breaks. You kidding me? But that touchdown late in the game yesterday, he's right up there. If he had a number 2, we don't even know who the number 2 is. I can't even name any of these players, like Tyler Johnson, Alan Lazard. Was he even active last night? I don't think so. We don't even know who the number 2 is. Like, I don't even know their name. They're not coming to me. But if Garrett Wilson had a number 2 to take some of the pressure off of him, he'd be right up there with Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase. CeeDee Lamb, he'd be that type of player. The dude's special. He's an athlete. That contract was justified, and he's living up to that contract. But he has no help whatsoever. But you saw it yesterday with the Dolphins offense. They were at home. They were in their new uniforms. They were feeling themselves. Even after being 0-3, their coach was on the hot seat, McDaniels. I thought if the Jets were winning this game, I thought they'd be fired. I thought Mike McDaniels was going to be fired. And he still might early in the season. But they were playing with some energy. They looked like they wanted to be there. Yeah, look at us. Tua for first downs. He's pointing, showing some arrogance. He's smiling. The Jets, for the most part, look lifeless out there. They're not a team that's built to come from these big deficits. They can't come back. They're not a team that's built from playing from behind and winning. And the sick fan in me, in the middle of the fourth quarter, I look over at my father and I say, this is the Monday Night Miracle Part 2. The Jets are going to rally and they're going to pull it out because I'm sick in the head. There's something wrong with me. It's all of us. We're Jet fans. What do you want, right? I mean, like, it's so hard to be that negative fan. And I was saying to the people around me, I had a work event yesterday, so I stayed for about the first half. Excuse me. Like I said, not feeling well. And I was texting people. I was talking to some of my coworkers. And I said, yeah, like, you could just tell, I'm like, we're not winning this game. But then the Jets start to come back, and they kind of suck you back in a little bit. You start believing, saying, okay, maybe we got something here. Maybe we got something. And whatever the case is, the Jets always find themselves going into the last possession with no timeouts, not a lot of clock, and stupid mistakes. And that was the story of yesterday. It's been the story of the entire season. It was really disappointing. Now we're last in the division. Not surprisingly. Well-deserved, really. The Jets don't deserve to have any credit, any respect. And then you go into work today, your coworkers looking at you, shaking their head, because they know I'm a huge Jet fan. Oh, Jets suck, man. The Jets look terrible. And I had a coworker yesterday, before the game even started, saying, if you're not a Jet or a Dolphin fan, like why even watch this game? And it's right. You have two bad teams duking it out. It wasn't the most boring game. And I don't even truthfully think that the Jets are the worst team in football right now. They're up there. They're top 3. They're certainly top 5. The Saints are probably the worst, right? Then you got the Titans. Cincinnati, they look terrible. The Vikings don't look good. And the Jets, in any order. The Jets are easily top 3. If not in your top 3, definitely top 5. And that's being generous. So where do you go from here? Rich Cimini tweeted out that after the game, it could be heard Aaron Glenn ripping the team apart. He was screaming, which he should be. But you know what? How many times did he look like a lifeless zombie on the sideline? We saw it from Saleh. We saw it from Todd Bowles. We saw it from Adam Gase. We saw it from Ulbrich. He looks like he's in over his head. He looked like he was tired yesterday. He was over it. He kind of tapped out. There was no energy. When the team starts getting soft, you have no energy from him. Where's that stupid dance? Where's the stupid dance? Start dancing. I don't care what you do. Stand on your head. Do cartwheels. You look at your head coach, the leader of this team, the same guy that said that we're not the same old Jets, the same guy that said we're going to be physical and our plan is to win now. And he looked like he gave up yesterday. He was just standing there. They showed him multiple times. I wish I had a picture of it. I don't. That will be coming. You'll be seeing that soon. I got some great ones in here from last year. We got that. They just look so out of this game. They look uncoached, unprepared. And this is typical, if not worse, same old Jets. Where the expectations are low, but you had an extra day to prepare for a bad team, and you come out and you get egg all over your face. We've seen this for years. And we saw it again last night. So where do you go from here? You got a bad Dallas Cowboy team coming in, but they're humming. They battled it out with Green Bay last Sunday night. Tie 40-40. They put up 40 points. How many points are they going to put up against this bad Jets defense? Whether CeeDee Lamb's there or not, it didn't matter to them. They had George Pickens. They had Williams. Goddard. They're making do. Another first-time head coach, Brian Schottenheimer. We know Brian Schottenheimer. He was a bad play caller, not as bad as, some of these other ones, but he wasn't great during his tenure here with the Jets all those years ago. I didn't even know he was still in the league. I forgot all about Brian Schottenheimer. And all of a sudden, he becomes the head coach. He's got his team playing, though. They're not a great team, but, excuse me. Going to take a sip of water here for a second. Sorry, guys. Just bear with me here for a second. Brian Schottenheimer, we would all be happy with the success that the Cowboys are having right now if we were the Jets, right? Scoring a lot of points. They're not winning every game, but they're in the mix. They're right there. They're on the verge of being a decent team. We're not there. So I don't know where we go from here. I'm going to get ready to wrap this up. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. We're pushing almost 2,000 subscribers. Please help get us there. Talk to you guys Thursday night. Have a good one. See you later.